What up team, it is MurderRank back with the Watcher of Realms video talking about the cheat code in Watcher of Realms known as Zilitu. Now we just finished off on a Zilitu 10x. If you were lucky enough to get her, congrats. If you're getting her down the line, also congratulations. I managed somehow, despite not saving any gear or whatever for Zilitu, to pull a Zilitu in like 30 or 40 blue shards. So I got very lucky. I was very happy to get Zilitu, and as you probably saw from the thumbnail, Zilitu is a cheat code. She's a cheat code. Where is she a cheat code? A lot of places, but specifically in the guild boss. As we can see, all of the top teams here are using Zilitu. 177 million damage, 181 million damage, 150 million damage. You guys kind of get the point. 157 million damage. So why is Zilitu so good, and how can she be so good? I'm going to give you the inside out on if you want to use this hero and where she really shines. So the first thing, of course, if you're going to be using a Zilitu, you want to make sure you have a Lord bonus for her if it's within reason. If not, it doesn't matter. But the obvious Lord bonus to use is going to be Pyros, and if you're crazy lucky, Twin Fiend. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know who the rare is that is a Lord for the infernal. I just don't know which rare that is. But if you have it, use it because it's going to help Zilitu either way. The next thing is going to come down to the placement of Zilitu, because I mean, quickly just looking at her skills, and mine's not skilled up unfortunately, this basic attack, a lot of players overlook this for the guild boss, or they don't and they think it's working a different way. Blocked targets take 20% more damage. I've seen so many people place Zilitu where she's not getting this 20% more damage, and 20% more damage is a lot. Let's just start by saying that. So to make sure you're always getting this bonus, this is what you have to do. It's very, very simple. You have to make sure that Zilitu is directly in front of the guild boss. Doesn't matter if it's this slot or any of the slots to the right, like the middle one that we just saw right here, or the one all the way to the right. As long as she's blocking the guild boss, this counts, and this is going to increase your damage. I mean, really quickly, we can just look. She's doing 44,000 damage here, and now we'll hit restart, and you'll see it's just going to be different if we drop her one slot behind. 38, 38, so we can see the difference there. 38 obviously is lower than 42, which is why you want her here. The next thing to talk about Zilitu is how the heck do we build a Zilitu, right? Like, what's the optimal way? So for looking at how to build any hero, you have to look at their kit. What do? They inflict burning. When triggered, deals 340% extra damage in a larger range for 35 seconds. Very good. And then we have a bonus that we don't really have access to unless you're using it outside of the guild boss, extended for 1 second for every kill during the skill animation. Next, we have a passive that's very important, charges energy after 3 seconds of not dealing damage, increases damage by 10% per second up to 50%. The charged energy will be consumed in 1 second and the damage increase will end. So what does this mean, right? And how can you not be dealing damage in the guild boss? This is where the lords come in, like Pyros, Twin Fiend. When those two heroes have an ultimate, it causes everyone to stop and start charging up. So the duration of that is going to have a direct impact on Empress Might, or of course outside of the guild boss. As enemies are walking towards Zilitu, she's going to do massive damage the first time I hit that enemy. And then once she kills whatever's in front of her, the next set of monsters that starts approaching Zilitu, she's just going to pop off. And then of course the second passive, each attack launch deals extra true damage equal to 52% attack one time if the target's HP is higher than 80%. Good for burst damage potential on the guild boss. I'm pretty sure this applies all the time because technically you're not lowering its health. I do believe I had a guildmate test if Zilitu does more damage if you hit the guild boss when it's at 100% compared to 0%. I'm fairly certain, cannot confirm this, but fairly certain it doesn't matter, and it's always healthy because you're zoning into like a healthy boss technically, and they didn't really have a health bar. It just goes up in blood. And if they did that on purpose, that's very good game design because it just makes it better. So now that we went over the skills, talk about the artifact that makes her do insane damage. So Crystal of Violence is going to be the best in that artifact, period. The way it scales with Zilitu is insane. As you can see, dealing damage has a 40% chance of one Shadow Guard with 150% of the hero's attributes to attack enemies for 10 seconds, can trigger once every 20 seconds. So this paired with all of the damage bonuses that she can get from Pyros, Twin Fiend, or her passives, this artifact is going to snapshot whenever it procs, and it's going to proc often during her high burst moments. So because of that, this artifact is like, I don't know, 20 to 25 million damage at the end game ahead of every single other one. Now, as far as where this outscales other artifacts, I don't know the answer to that. You're going to have to test that on your own, but I would say if you have Crystal of Vileness, try this first, then swap it out for a Scarlet Hunt, Flawless Blade, whatever you have access to, or of course any legendary ones that you find beneficial to you. And since nothing in this game costs resources to retry if you don't finish, just do a quick damage check, see what the damage looks like while testing different things, and then you will have proper results after that. The next thing we're going to get into is going to be the stats of Zilitu. Now, my Zilitu is in I used Quick Equip. I'm not going to lie, I used Quick Equip for this because I was using her for faction trials, which are pretty simple. Now, if you want to look at the first Zilitu that I ever made based on the gear that I had available to me, this is what it would look like. 15.7 thousand attack. We have 107% crit rate, 470 attack speed because I value that very, very high on a hero like Zilitu, and 320% crit damage. Now, of course, this can be much better. All you really have to do is head on to the guild boss rankings and click on, I believe Life has the highest damage dealing Zilitu in the game. 177, 181. Yeah, so 181 obviously is much higher. So let's click on this build. 16,000 attack. He ended up going with lower attack speed, 352, 100% crit rate, and 404 crit damage, 21% rage regen. Again, this is a monster of a build. So this is probably what I should have showed you first here, but I kind of just want to emphasize a few things. For one, crit damage has higher value in the guild boss compared to anywhere else in the game. So this may not be the best build to copy off of. You want attack, you want crit rate, you want attack speed. After that, crit damage, rage regen are going to be your priorities, but for the basics, attack speed, crit rate are going to be the main three for sure. And as we can see here, as far as gear sets, the best in slot is going to be Infernal Roar, basic attack damage plus 40. If you look at Zilitu's skills, they are all basic attack. You have two passives that buff the basic and the ultimate that also just buffs the basic. Now, for the majority of players who are not farming gear rate 19, how would you build your Zilitu? Now, that is a fantastic question. Personally, I would say the Wisdom gear set is going to be very strong for her. After using the ultimate skill, increases damage by 35% for 10 seconds. Now, her ult's going to make her do incredible damage, so you can take advantage of getting a massive boost for 10 seconds every time she's going to ultimate. In most content, that's going to be where she does the majority of her damage, so any gear set that's buffing that section of her gameplay is going to be very strong. The next thing that I would say also has good synergy with Zilitu is going to be Night Terror, increases damage by 25% for 3 seconds after making critical hits. Now, this of course is going to fall off if there's going to be downtime to make her first burst attack against any enemy unit, because you're getting a bonus for hitting them while they're at high health, and when you don't attack for a while, she gains a bonus on that first attack. So you're going to lose out on this, which is why I'm putting this behind the other wisdom set. But once you get into sustained territory, this is where Night Terror is going to be a decent option for Zilitu as well. Outside of that, the kind of go-to set that I really do like is going to be Fatality, increases attack by 3%, ignores 12% of the target's defense and magic res. Zilitu is a magic damage dealer, so this is going to be very strong across the board because it applies all of the time. So TLDR, I think Fatality's rank 1, Wisdom's rank 2, and then there are a few that are good as far as the third best in my opinion at least. But they're all kind of close to each other and you can get a pretty good idea just by reading what the gear sets do. As far as where specifically outside of Guild Boss that Zilitu shines, Zilitu has an obvious benefit in gear rate 3. Where specifically in gear rate 3? Kind of where I was putting my arrogance when I did this for the first time, since I didn't have Zilitu. Now I am using, what's her name in place? You're going to see it. I'm going to put Araka, the Lord bonus, right in the middle here. This is where you would place Zilitu for incredible single target damage against the boss. Right there's my Araka placement. That's where I said Zilitu would go, just to start pumping the enemy Zilitu. Zilitu versus Zilitu, and then you kind of continue on with your run. I should let this go, but it's whatever. As far as Gear Raid 2 goes, I would say for stage 19, 20, and 21 on Gear Raid 2, you're probably not going to be using Zilitu. You can use Zilitu for sure as one of the side placement heroes, but Zilitu will probably have a better chance at 18 or under as kind of a buffer champion for as much damage as possible. And then Gear Raid 1, I would say definitely not optimal for a single target champion. Like Zilitu, she does do magic damage, so there's an argument to be made there where you can just stack attack, crit rate, attack speed, and single target down all of the mobs. You can definitely do that. I haven't seen people do it to great success, but if you do place her behind the barrier on any stage that you're on, it can be a viable strategy for sure. Outside of that campaign, she's going to carry, of course, and that's going to conclude this video on how to handle and cope with the fact that you just pulled the cheat code known as Zilitu. If you enjoy content like this, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you all in my next upload.